Hello friends, and welcome to another edition of Quarancocktails. Quarantine cocktails? Quarancocktails. Today on Quarancocktails we're going to be making a watermelon gin and tonic. Just kind of like a refreshing summery drink. I know it's not really quarantine anymore for everyone, even here in Arizona where things are still pretty bad. You can like go out and do stuff, so technically it's not quarantine, but I can't go anywhere still because I have immune problems. So I'm still under quarantine, so I think it still counts. And yeah, we just wanted to make a like light, refreshing, casual Sunday cocktail. As you can tell, things are very casual here right now. I didn't really get dressed even. I'm just wearing like my 90s or 80s parachute pants, Meeting the Minds tank from a few years ago, and I kind of brushed my hair, so you're welcome for that. Yeah, so anyway, we're going to make a watermelon gin and tonic, which as you know, Quarantine Cocktails is where I just make drinks based on what I have in my house. So right now, because things are weird and we're not going out a lot, I don't have all the ingredients to make like actual cocktails the way they're supposed to be made. So instead, I'm just cobbling together cocktails with whatever I happen to have. And so for this, I thought, okay, so your regular gin and tonic is just gin, tonic, lime, and then maybe a little mint, or if you want to like pizzazz it up with whatever. I don't exactly have all of those ingredients, but I do have watermelon Eegees that I put in an ice tray, leftover Eegees, as you can see. If you don't know what Eegees is, because you don't live in Arizona, it's a sort of fast food chain that has these drinks called Eegees is like the name of the drink, and it's kind of like a frozen slushy icy kind of drink. It's like impossible to describe if you've never had it, because the texture is totally different than any other slushy or anything like that, Italian ice or anything. It's like kind of like a combination of Italian ice style and like a slushy style. Anyway, it's super delicious. But I bought one the other day, but I didn't eat it all, so I just like, it was getting melty, so I just put the rest in this little ice tray. So that's going to be the watermelon component of our watermelon gin and tonic. I do have gin. Wouldn't be a gin and tonic without gin, but this gin is real old, like super old. I have had it forever. Clearly I don't drink gin that often, but I think it's probably still good, right? Like alcohol doesn't really go bad like that. So we have the gin. I don't have limes, but I do have lime juice, so we can do a little spritz of that. I don't have tonic, but I do have tangerine flavored LaCroix, so I figure it's got the bubbles. I know it doesn't really have the tonic flavor, but tangerine is a citrus, so hopefully it'll go okay with the lime. And then I do have a little mint that I picked from my garden, and the mint in my garden is enormous. So this isn't even gonna make a dent. I should probably just like chop a bunch of it off, but so yeah, so we have a little fresh mint topper. So the first thing that I'm gonna do is, I don't really know the best way to assemble this. Like normally you just put the ice and stuff in, but if I put the watermelon in first, it'll just like already be melted. Maybe I'll do a couple of regular ice cubes and then put the watermelon in at the end. Okay, so we have our ice cubes. So I'm just using this little mason jar glass. I don't know if you can see, but it has a little rooster on it. It's really cute. And I'm just gonna do, wow, this ice is frozen really weirdly. 2 regular ice cubes. And then I don't want it to be too ginny to start, because we can always add more gin, but we can't add gin. So I'm gonna add about a shot, and this, I have this little mason jar shot glass. I didn't really mean this to be like all mason jar plug, but this is actually about twice the size of a regular shot glass. So I'm gonna do about half of that. Pour it in there to start. We might add more at the end if it seems like it needs more alcohol. And then I'm just gonna do a little bit of a squeeze of lime juice. we're just figuring this out as we go. So we'll adjust at the end. And then I'm gonna do the LaCroix. And basically just pour in this whole, maybe not quite the whole thing, but because we have room for the watermelon still, but most of it. And then we get a little spoon. Nope, that's a fork. All right, so we got our spoon. Just gonna gently stir that up. Should kind of mix everything together. And then I'm just gonna taste this, and we wanna do adjustments before we put in, I think, the watermelon, because the watermelon is like kind of a stronger flavor, so I wanna make sure this is balanced before we add that. Okay, I think you could definitely use more gin. I feel like you can't really even taste the gin hardly. And I thought this would probably be good with the watermelon because lime and watermelon go really well together. I don't know if you've ever done this where you cut a slice of watermelon and then you squeeze a lime wedge over it, but it's super delicious. So I figured since lime is already one of the ingredients in a gin and tonic, then like watermelon would probably go really well. And watermelon and mint go well together too, so I feel like you can't really go wrong in that situation. And let's see, so I added more gin. I think it needs more lime too. So I'm gonna add a little bit more lime, like that. And then just give it a little bit of a stir. Okay. Wow, it's like you really can't taste. I mean, I guess you don't have to like really taste the gin, but I feel like if it's gonna be a gin and tonic, you want, you know, a little bit of gin flavor in there. Just add a little bit more gin. A little bit more lime. Just like the flavors to be strong, I guess. Okay, that should just about do it. Okay, yeah, I think that's a good place. So these ice cube, I put it in this little tiny ice cube tray because it was the only extra ice cube tray that I had. The problem is that the Eegees is not just like water, so it's like kind of sticky because it has sugar in it or whatever. So I can't just be like, oh, well, it kind of was melting, so now I just dumped it all over the counter. But you can't just like, you know, like how you would normally just like kind of pop the ice cubes out. So I'm just gonna have to like dig them out with this knife a little bit. And I'm just gonna plop them right in here. And they've actually gotten pretty soft already, just sitting out here, because once again, it's not just solid ice. So I'm just gonna put a few of these in there. Not really sure how much we want. Probably a decent amount to make it really have that watermelon flavor. The other fun thing about Eegees, if you don't know, or if you've never had it, is they have a different, so they have regular flavors that you can get all the time, which are like strawberry, lemon, pina colada, and I think that might be it. Those might be the main regular flavors. Maybe there's one more I'm forgetting. But then every month there's a flavor of the month. So it's kind of like, you know it's summer when watermelon is the flavor of the month, because usually the really sort of well-known flavors that everybody looks forward to are in a certain month. So like Lucky Lime is always during March for St. Patrick's Day, and watermelon I think is usually always during July. Last month was mango, which was very delicious. It's kind of sweet, so I usually like to get whatever the flavor is, whether that's the flavor of the month or just like strawberry, and then do half that flavor and half lemon. So you can do like half and half, and the lemon being a little more bitter because it's made with real fruit, so like the lemon one has like actual bits of lemon rind in it. Really balances it out well, so it's not just like sugary and sweet. I mean, not that it's like super sweet, but I just, enjoy it more when it has that little bit of like tangy citrus flavor too. Okay, so I did about half of this tray. I'm also gonna just kind of feel like some of this juice is kind of melted, so I'm just going to pour that in there for a little extra watermelon flavor. And then just put this back in the freezer so I can have the rest later for another drink. I'm just going to give this a little bit of a stir. I guess at this point it wouldn't have really mattered if I put the watermelon in first, since it's kind of just melting anyway, but I just wanted to get like a nice balance on the other flavors before I added the watermelon, so I still feel good about what I did there. Okay, let's give this a shot and see what it tastes like. Oh yeah, they're really good. It's great. I don't think it really needs any adjustment at all. So I'm going to take some of our mint leaves that we have here. This is kind of a large spray, so I'm just gonna like stick the whole thing in there. And we probably don't want the flowers at the top, even though they're very pretty. So I'm just gonna pick off, oops, a little bit of flower fell in. Just gonna pick off a few leaves and add them in at the top, kind of just for garnish to make it look pretty. It'll add a little bit of flavor, but not much, not a lot, since we're not like muddling it like you would with like a mojito or something. Just to make it look pretty and summery. So there you have it. So pretty. Also with Eegees, like I just did it this way because I had leftover, but Eegees are really great when you just have the straight Eegees that you've gotten and you can just like mix the alcohol right into it. So like the pina colada flavor, strawberry, all that is really good with a little rum. Watermelon we have now found is really good with gin, or vodka's good in really any of the flavors. So that's like a really nice, refreshing, summery treat to drink. I mean, it's really good without the alcohol, but you know, parrotheads like to add alcohol to stuff. That's like how we do. So it's great with alcohol too, if that is a thing that you're into. So yeah, there you have it. Eegees watermelon gin and tonic. I hope that this inspires you to make something fun with what you have. It doesn't have to be perfect, doesn't have to be, you know, like an actual mix, like what a mixologist would make, like a fancy cocktail with specific ingredient amounts. You know, like real cocktails have like, okay, you have like 1 part this and like 3 parts this or whatever, but like just make it to taste. Like start with less and you can always add more, mix it up, and that way you can just make it to however you want it to be, to your own taste. So yeah, go see what's in your kitchen, go see what's in your fridge, be creative. Like I said, like random old Eegees that I made into ice cubes, like that's not like a thing you have, but you probably have some random things. I've made drinks with like old popsicles that were in the fridge before. Really, you can just experiment with what you have, and generally it turns out pretty delicious no matter what you do. So go give it a shot, and please, if you have made some fun cocktails during this quarantine time, I want to hear about it, because maybe I'll try and make those cocktails too. If you're like, whoa, I did this and it worked out really well. I don't know if I'll have the stuff for that, but I can always try. So I really want to hear about your stories if you've made fun, like random cocktails with what's in your house, or even if you've made like fancy professional cocktails because maybe you're at home with all this free time and you know, have gotten this stuff from the store to make like a perfect cocktail. So what have you been making during, what's your Quarancocktail? And until next time, please enjoy whatever you make, and as always, fins up.